AITA for telling my sister to stop crying after she cheated? My name is Rachel, and I've always tried to be a supportive older sister. My sister, Mia, is 23, and she's always been dramatic. She thrives on attention like some people need air. Whether it's from friends, family, or boyfriends, she craves to be the center of everyone's world. Growing up, I thought it was just a phase, that she'd grow out of it. But the truth is, Mia has always been this way, and now it feels like it's reaching a breaking point. 2 weeks ago, Mia's entire world came crashing down. She'd been dating her boyfriend, Lucas, for almost 3 years. Lucas is one of those rare people who seem genuinely good at heart. He's patient, hardworking, and the kind of guy who never raises his voice even when he's frustrated. Honestly, I never understood why he stuck around as long as he did. Mia was never easy to be with. She has a fiery temper, a selfish streak a mile wide, and a habit of blaming everyone else for her mistakes. Lucas wasn't just her boyfriend. He was practically her caretaker. He worked full-time at a demanding job, paid most of their bills, and even cooked dinner most nights. He kept their little apartment clean and organized while Mia spent her days living her best life. She'd go out with friends, spend hours shopping, or scroll endlessly on her phone, posting carefully staged selfies while Lucas was at work. When she did stay home, she'd sweep the floor once or fold a single load of laundry, then gush to everyone about how she kept the whole house together. I knew it wasn't fair. I saw Lucas doing the heavy lifting while Mia took all the credit. But it wasn't my relationship, so I stayed quiet. Lucas seemed happy enough, or at least he pretended to be. But Mia wasn't just selfish. She was unfaithful. About 6 months ago, Mia started sneaking around behind Lucas's back. The worst part? It wasn't with some random stranger. It was with Lucas's childhood friend, Lila. Lucas and Lila grew up together. They'd been inseparable since grade school, like siblings who'd chosen each other. Lucas trusted Lila completely, which made Mia's betrayal 1,000 times worse. Mia lied constantly. She'd claim she was going out with her girlfriends for a self-care night, when really, she was sneaking off to see Lila. She'd come home late, smelling of perfume that wasn't hers, then spin some ridiculous story about losing track of time while shopping. I suspected something was going on, but whenever I asked, she'd laugh it off and accuse me of being paranoid. Lucas only found out the truth when Lila made a mistake. She meant to post a private photo to her close friends group on Instagram, but accidentally posted it publicly. It wasn't explicit, but it left no room for misunderstanding. Mia and Lila were wrapped around each other, kissing, with a caption full of heart emojis. Within an hour, Mia came home to find her suitcases packed by the door. Lucas didn't yell. He didn't cry. He just told her to get out. When she tried to explain, he cut her off with a simple, "I don't want to hear it." Mia was hysterical. She begged, she pleaded, she promised she'd change. But Lucas didn't budge. So she came straight to my apartment, mascara streaked down her face, shaking so hard I thought she might collapse. At first, I let her stay because she was my sister. She'd just been through a breakup, and I didn't want her to be alone. I figured a few nights of crying and ice cream would help her calm down. But a few nights turned into 2 endless weeks of chaos. Mia didn't just cry. She wailed. She screamed into pillows, stomped around the apartment, and sobbed so loudly at 2 or 3 a.m. that I barely got any sleep. She spent her days curled up on my couch, scrolling through Lucas's social media, dissecting every post and every comment like a detective. She'd mutter things like, "Why hasn't he blocked me? Does that mean he still cares?" What truly drove me insane, though, was that Mia never once admitted she'd done anything wrong. Not once. Instead, she twisted the narrative until she was the victim. "This was my true self coming out," she said one night, clutching a blanket dramatically. Lucas should have been supportive. He should have encouraged me to explore my feelings instead of throwing me away. Another time, she sniffled and declared, "I didn't cheat, Rachel. I was just figuring out who I am. It's not my fault he didn't understand." Every time she said something like that, I bit my tongue so hard I thought I'd draw blood. I wanted to scream, to shake her, to make her see the destruction she'd caused. But instead, I made tea for her, listened to her endless rants, and tried, gently, to suggest that maybe she needed to take responsibility. She never listened. In fact, whenever I hinted that she might share some of the blame, she'd cry even harder and accuse me of taking Lucas's side. The breaking point came one morning. I was sitting at the kitchen table, sipping tea before work, savoring a rare moment of quiet. Mia shuffled out of the guest room with puffy eyes and a dramatic sigh. She sat down across from me and immediately started crying again. "It's just so unfair," she sobbed. "Lucas is probably out there living his best life while I'm here suffering. Why does the universe hate me so much?" Something inside me snapped. "Mia," I said, setting my cup down with a sharp clink, "you need to stop. You cheated on him. You lied to him for months. You don't get to act like this just happened to you out of nowhere." She froze mid-sob, staring at me like I'd slapped her. Then she shook her head violently, tears flying. "You don't understand," she wailed. "I loved him, but I love Lila too. My heart is complicated." "No," I said, my voice cold. "You didn't love him. Because if you did, you wouldn't have done this. You destroyed a good man who treated you better than you deserved. And now you're sitting here, crying like you're the one who was wronged." Her mouth fell open. For a moment, She didn't speak. Then her face twisted in rage. "You're supposed to be on my side," she screamed. "You're my sister." "I am your sister," I shot back, standing up. "And that's why I'm telling you the truth. You did this to yourself, Mia. Stop crying and start taking responsibility." Her chest heaved like she couldn't catch her breath. Then she spun on her heel, stormed off to the guest room, and slammed the door so hard a picture frame fell off the wall. She didn't speak to me for a full week. Honestly, the silence was a blessing. But then, the drama escalated. On the 8th day, I came home from work to find Mia sitting in the living room with her phone clutched in her hands, her face twisted with fury. "What's going on?" I asked cautiously. She turned to me, eyes blazing. "Lucas blocked me on everything. Facebook, Instagram, even his phone. He's cutting me out completely." I shrugged. "Maybe that's what he needs to heal." She slammed her phone onto the coffee table. "No, he's doing this to punish me. He owes me a conversation." "Mia," I said slowly, "he doesn't owe you anything. You cheated on him. You lied. He has every right to move on." That was the wrong thing to say. Mia erupted. She screamed. She cursed. She accused me of betraying her. She claimed I'd been secretly talking to Lucas behind her back, feeding him lies. "You want him to hate me," she shrieked, tears streaming down her face. "You've always been jealous of me, Rachel. Admit it." I stared at her, stunned. "Jealous? Mia, I don't want your drama-filled life. I just want peace." But she wasn't listening. She threw a pillow across the room, barely missing a lamp, then ran to the guest room and slammed the door again. That night, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, my heart pounding. I realized something terrifying. Mia wasn't just heartbroken. She was unraveling, and I didn't know how much longer I could handle it. Last night, everything boiled over in a way I never could have predicted. It started with a loud, urgent knock on my apartment door around 9:30 p.m. I wasn't expecting anyone, and Mia was in the guest room blasting sad music on her phone like she had been every night for the past week. My heart sank because, for a brief second, I thought it might be Mia's friend Lila coming here to stir up even more drama. But when I opened the door, it wasn't Lila. It was Lucas. He looked completely wrecked, pale skin, dark circles under his eyes, and a slouched posture like he was carrying the weight of the world. His usually neat hair was messy, and there was a hollow, almost defeated look in his eyes. "Can I talk to Mia?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. I froze, unsure what to say. "She's here," I admitted cautiously. "But, Lucas, are you sure this is a good idea? She's not in a great state of mind right now." His jaw tightened. "I'm not here to fight with her. I just need to say a few things so there's no confusion." Before I could respond, Mia came tearing out of the guest room, almost tripping over herself in her rush. The second she saw Lucas, her entire face lit up like a Christmas tree. "Lucas!" she screamed, her voice breaking. "Oh my God, you came. I knew you'd come back for me." She lunged forward, arms open like she was about to tackle him with a hug. But Lucas stepped back sharply, his expression cold and unrecognizable. "Stop." His tone was flat, final. "I'm not here to get back together with you." Mia froze mid-step, confusion spreading across her face. What? Then why are you here?" Lucas didn't answer right away. Instead, he reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone. His hands were trembling slightly as he unlocked it and held it out toward her. On the screen was a series of screenshots, text conversations between Mia and Lila. Even from a distance, I could see some of the messages. Mia had been bragging about how easy it was to fool Lucas, calling him too trusting, and even joking with Lila about how gullible he was for believing her lies. In one particularly awful message, Mia had written, "He actually made me dinner after I spent the whole day with you. Poor guy doesn't even know he's just my safety net." Lucas's voice shook as he spoke. "I found these after you left. I wanted to believe that this was just a mistake, Mia, that maybe you were confused or scared. But these messages..." His voice cracked for the first time. This wasn't confusion. This was cruelty. Mia's face went white as she stared at the screen. "Lucas, I don't," he snapped, cutting her off. The pain in his voice made even me flinch. "Don't say anything. I didn't come here to fight with you. I came here to tell you, face to face, that I don't want you in my life anymore. Not as a girlfriend. Not as a friend. Nothing." He took a deep, shaky breath. "Do not call me. Do not text me. Do not show up at my job. If you care about me even a little, you'll leave me alone." Mia dropped to her knees like her legs had given out. She sobbed so loudly that it echoed through the apartment. "Lucas, please. I was stupid. I was selfish. But I can change. I'll do anything. Just give me another chance." Lucas didn't even look at her. His shoulders sagged, and for a brief moment, he looked like he might break down too. But then his face hardened. "Goodbye, Mia." And with that, he turned and walked out the door. Mia screamed his name, trying to crawl toward him, but I blocked her before she could chase him down the hallway. She collapsed in a heap on the floor, clutching her chest like she was physically in pain. I didn't know what to do. My instincts told me to comfort her, but a part of me also felt cold, detached. I'd warned her over and over that this would happen. After about 10 agonizing minutes, Mia's sobs shifted into something darker. She stopped crying and looked up at me with wild, red-rimmed eyes. "This is your fault," she hissed. I blinked, stunned. "My fault? Mia, how on earth is this my fault? You never supported me," she screamed, shoving herself to her feet. "You were always judging me, always taking Lucas's side. I know you've been talking to him behind my back, poisoning him against me. My mouth fell open. Mia, that's insane. I haven't spoken to Lucas since the day he kicked you out. He found those messages himself. You did this, not me. But she wasn't listening. She stormed into the guest room, yanking open drawers and shoving her clothes into her suitcase. Mia, stop, I pleaded. You're not thinking clearly. You need to calm down. She whirled around, her face twisted with rage and heartbreak. I'm done listening to you, Rachel. You've ruined everything. I wish I'd never come here. Before I could respond, she shoved past me, dragging her overstuffed suitcase down the hall. She slammed the door so hard behind her that the entire apartment shook. I stood there in stunned silence, my ears ringing. A few minutes later, my phone buzzed with a text. It was from Mia. The message was long, full of venom and blame. I'm moving in with a real friend who actually cares about me. Don't ever try to contact me again. I don't need a sister who's secretly rooting for my downfall. Hope you and Lucas are happy together. I stared at the screen, numb. Lucas and I hadn't even spoken, yet Mia's paranoia had twisted the situation into something grotesque. The next day, the drama only intensified. I woke up to over a dozen missed calls and texts from mutual friends and relatives. Mia had apparently gone on a social media rant, posting vague but pointed accusations about betrayal and backstabbing. She didn't mention my name outright, but everyone knew who she was talking about. By lunchtime, my aunt texted me, Rachel, what's going on with Mia? She's saying you ruined her relationship and drove her out of your apartment. People are worried. I tried to explain, but the more I defended myself, the more tangled the situation became. Mia had always been good at spinning a story to make herself look like the victim. The final blow came that evening when I received a message from Lucas himself. Lucas, I'm sorry you're caught up in this. I know Mia is blaming you, but I just want you to know I don't believe her. Thank you for putting up with her as long as you did. Reading that brought tears to my eyes. It was the first time someone had acknowledged how exhausting this had been for me. But Mia wasn't done yet. Later that night, she sent me one final message. It wasn't angry like before. It was cold, almost calculated. If you ever talk to Lucas again, I'll make sure everyone in our family thinks you tried to steal him from me. Don't test me, Rachel. My hands shook as I read it. It was like I didn't even recognize my own sister anymore. I blocked her number. For the first time in weeks, my apartment is quiet, peaceful even. Part of me feels guilty. She's still my sister after all. But another part of me feels free. Because deep down, I know Mia needs to face the consequences of her own actions. And until she does, there's nothing I can do to save her. As for Lucas, I don't know what his future holds. I just hope he heals from all of this. I sat on my couch tonight, staring at the blank TV screen, and realized something. Sometimes the hardest thing you can do for someone you love is let them go, even if it tears you apart. And that's exactly what I'm doing.
You are not the AITA. Here's why, and I'll lay it out with fresh insights, suggestions, and a little joke that hasn't appeared in anything above. Mia's collapse wasn't an isolated stumble. It was the predictable result of years of selfishness, denial, and reckless behavior. You weren't a spark that set her off. You were simply the witness left behind when her carefully stacked tower of lies toppled over. That distinction matters, because guilt thrives in people like you, those who care enough to absorb the shockwaves but still know the difference between enabling and helping. Let's start with your role. You opened your home to her in good faith, hoping she would find stability in your space. That was generosity, not obligation. And yet, she weaponized your kindness, turning your apartment into a stage for endless meltdowns. Your living room became a theater where she auditioned for world's most misunderstood victim, and you were trapped in the audience with no intermission. The moment you tried to dim the spotlight by pointing out reality, she accused you of betrayal. That's not just ungrateful, it's manipulative. Now, Lucas. He showed up with proof, dignity, and the emotional strength to cut ties cleanly. That moment should have been Mia's reckoning, the mirror forcing her to confront the truth. Instead, she redirected her fury onto you. It's a classic psychological dodge. When reality is unbearable, find a scapegoat. You became the villain in her script because admitting her own cruelty would have shattered her fragile self-image. My personal insight: I've seen dynamics like this in sibling relationships before, and they're always corrosive. One person plays perpetual victim, the other carries the emotional luggage. Eventually, the carrier breaks down. You hit that wall, and instead of collapsing under the load, you finally set it down. That isn't selfish, that's survival. Suggestions going forward: do not re-engage until she seeks accountability. Reconciliation without responsibility will only restart the cycle. Document interactions if she escalates. Her social media theatrics prove she's willing to smear you. Protecting your reputation matters. Prioritize your own healing. Living under siege in your own home leaves invisible bruises. Give yourself permission to rebuild calm. Joke time: imagine if Mia were a contestant on a cooking show. She burns every dish, blames the oven, throws flour at the judges, and then storms off shouting that someone else sabotaged her souffle. That's her entire approach to relationships: chaos, denial, and finger-pointing. You were just the unlucky roommate stuck cleaning the kitchen afterward. Verdict: you are not the AITA. You extended compassion, patience, and truth, which is the opposite of cruelty. Mia is the AITA, not because she's heartbroken, everything, but because she refuses to accept even a sliver of responsibility. Lucas remains the quiet casualty, a decent person scarred by betrayal, trying to rebuild. Final thought: family love doesn't mean being an emotional punching bag. Sometimes the kindest act isn't protecting someone from consequences, it's letting those consequences teach the lessons you can't. Before we jump into the next story, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let us know your favorite part in the comments.
ATA for walking out on my friends after they invited strangers to our guys' night? The night started with tension. Emma was standing in the kitchen, her back turned to me as she kneaded dough for a batch of pastries she had to bring into work the next morning. Her shoulders were tense, her movements sharp and hurried. She didn't say much, but I could feel the weight of her exhaustion filling the room like a heavy fog. "Are you sure you're okay with me going tonight?" I asked gently, leaning on the counter. "I can stay home and help you." She didn't look at me right away. "I'll be fine," she said finally, though her tone wasn't convincing. "You've been looking forward to this for weeks, Daniel. Go, have fun with Mark and Adrian." Her words were kind, but there was a thin thread of strain underneath them. I kissed her cheek, promised I wouldn't be late, and left with a knot of guilt in my chest. On the drive over to Mark's house, my phone buzzed. It was a message from Mark. "Hey, just a heads up, Tyler might come by. He's cool. You'll like him." I sighed, but typed back, "Okay, as long as it stays low-key. You know how Emma feels about me drinking around women she doesn't know." Mark, got it. Don't worry, man. I relaxed a little after that. Mark and Adrian were like brothers to me. We'd been through everything together. High school trouble, college struggles, marriages, jobs. I trusted them completely. When I got there, the night felt perfect at first. The four of us sat around Mark's living room, the familiar smell of his old leather couch mixing with the faint scent of beer and pizza. Adrian cracked jokes, Tyler laughed easily, and for a while, it felt like I was back in my 20s. No responsibilities, no looming fatherhood, just friends and laughter. But at exactly 9 p.m., the evening shifted. The sharp chime of the doorbell cut through the conversation. Mark frowned, glancing around. "I didn't order food," he muttered, standing to answer it. The second the door opened, 3 women walked in like they owned the place. They were dressed casually, holding small purses and laughing like they were ready for a party. My stomach dropped. Who are they?" I asked, my voice sharp. Adrian turned to me, confusion etched across his face. "I've never seen them before." Mark's eyebrows furrowed. "Tyler, what's going on?" Tyler grinned, shrugging casually. "Relax, man. I invited them. Thought it'd be more fun to have a bigger group." The room went cold. My pulse spiked. "Are you kidding me?" I snapped, standing so fast my beer nearly spilled. "I specifically said no surprises like this. Emma trusted me to have a quiet night with you guys, and you bring random women here." The 3 women froze, their laughter fading into awkward silence. "Dude, chill," Tyler said, rolling his eyes. "Nothing's gonna happen. They just wanted to hang out. You don't get it." My voice rose, anger boiling over. "I'm married. I'm about to be a father. If anyone took a photo or posted something online, it could ruin everything. Emma deserves respect, and this," I gestured wildly toward the women, "is the opposite of that." Adrian stood, his face darkening. "Tyler, this is not what we agreed on. You blindsided all of us." Mark's jaw tightened. "Get them out. Now." Tyler scoffed. "You guys are acting like old men. It's harmless." One of the women finally spoke, her voice hesitant. "We didn't realize this would be a problem. Tyler just said it was a casual hangout. If it's awkward, we can leave." "No," I said quickly, my voice shaking. "I'm the one leaving." Mark reached for my arm. "Daniel, wait. Don't go. We'll send them home, and we can salvage the night." But I couldn't stay. My heart was pounding, my thoughts spinning. "I can't. This shouldn't have happened in the first place." I stormed out, slamming the door behind me. As I walked down the driveway, I could hear Adrian shouting at Tyler, his words sharp and furious. When I got home, Emma was asleep on the couch, a half-finished pastry tray on the table beside her. I sat in silence for almost an hour, replaying the night in my head. The image of those women walking through the door burned into my mind like a warning sign. What if someone had taken a photo? What if Emma found out through someone else? The next morning, my phone buzzed with messages from Mark. "I'm so sorry, man. I had no idea Tyler was going to do that. The women left right after you did. Adrian and I ripped into him, but he didn't get it. Adrian and I are cutting ties with him. You're family to us. We've got your back." Reading those texts eased my anger slightly, but I couldn't shake the lingering unease. Later that afternoon, another message came through, this time from an unknown number. Unknown. "Hey Daniel, it's Tyler. Dude, last night wasn't that serious. You need to chill before you ruin everyone's fun." My hands clenched around my phone. I blocked the number without replying, my anger simmering hotter than ever. But even with Tyler gone from my life, the damage was done. That evening, Mark called to check on me. "You okay, man? I feel awful about all this." I hesitated. "I don't know, Mark. I trusted you guys." I left Emma at home, exhausted exhausted, so I could spend time with my closest friends. And then this happens. We didn't plan it, he said quickly. Adrian and I were just as blindsided as you. I know, I admit it, but now I have to live with the fear that Emma might find out some other way, that she might think I was part of it. Mark was silent for a moment. We'll make it right. I promise. I wanted to believe him. Over the next few days, my anxiety grew. Every time Emma's phone buzzed, I felt a pang of dread. I started avoiding social media altogether, terrified I'd see a photo or post from that night. Then, one evening, Adrian stopped by unexpectedly. He looked grim. "Tyler's been talking," he said quietly, glancing around like Emma might overhear. "He's telling people you freaked out because you couldn't handle temptation." My stomach lurched. What? That's a lie. I know, Adrian said quickly, but you need to be prepared. If Emma hears that version first, he didn't need to finish the sentence. That night, I lay awake beside Emma, staring at the ceiling. She slept peacefully, unaware of the storm brewing around us. I knew then that my friendship with Mark and Adrian would never be the same. Even though they weren't directly at fault, the circle of trust we'd built over decades had been cracked, maybe beyond repair. For now, I've decided to host future hangouts at my own house. No more surprises, no more risks. But deep down, I know this isn't over. Not as long as Tyler keeps running his mouth, and not as long as I keep hiding the truth from Emma. I wish I could say things calmed down after that first storm, but that would be a lie. 2 days after I blocked Tyler, I walked into my house expecting a quiet evening with Emma. Instead, I found her sitting on the couch, stiff as a statue, her phone clenched so tightly in her hand her knuckles were white. The moment I saw her face, my heart sank. She wasn't angry. She looked hurt. "Daniel," she said, her voice barely above a whisper, "we need to talk." My mouth went dry. "Of course," I said, carefully lowering myself onto the couch beside her. "What's going on?" She turned her phone toward me. On the screen was a blurry photo of me at Mark's house. I was standing near the couch, my head turned slightly as if I'd just heard something. And in the background, one of the women Tyler brought had a drink in her hand, laughing. The caption was like a punch to the gut. "Wild night with the crew." The post had been up for hours. At least a dozen mutual friends had liked it. My stomach flipped as I realized anyone could see it, including people from Emma's family. "Emma," I blurted, panic shooting through my chest. "This isn't what it looks like. I swear. I didn't know they were coming. I left the second they showed up." Her eyes filled with tears, but her voice was calm, too calm. "Why didn't you tell me about this as soon as it happened, Daniel? Why am I finding out like this from Facebook of all places?" I could feel my throat tightening. "I didn't want to upset you," I said quickly. "You've been so tired, and I thought I could handle it without bringing you more stress. I was wrong. I should have told you." I told her everything, every detail. How Tyler had blindsided us, how I'd stormed out, how I'd been terrified someone might take a photo. By the time I finished, Emma sat in silence, staring at the floor. Finally, she whispered, "I believe you, Daniel." Relief washed over me for half a second, until she looked up, tears glistening in her eyes. "But this still hurts. It makes me feel like you're hiding things from me. If there's even a shadow of doubt, it's going to haunt me." Her words shattered me. I took her hand, promising, from now on, there's complete transparency. No more hiding, no matter what. She nodded slowly, but I could see it in her expression. A small piece of trust had been chipped away, and there was no way to put it back instantly. Later that night, my phone rang. It was Mark. His voice was furious, practically shaking through the speaker. "Daniel, you need to hear this," he said. "Adrian confronted Tyler tonight about that photo. Tyler admitted he posted it on purpose. He thought it'd be funny to stir things up." My blood ran cold. "You're kidding me." "I wish I was," Mark growled. "Adrian nearly punched him. We told Tyler he's done. He's banned from anything involving us. If he shows up near our group again, he's on his own." I was grateful for their loyalty, but it didn't erase the damage. Tyler's little joke had already sunk its claws deep into my marriage. The next morning, things got worse. Emma came into the kitchen holding her phone, her face pale. "Daniel, my mom just called me." She saw the photo. My stomach dropped like a stone. Emma's mom is fiercely protective of her. She's always been skeptical of me, and now this photo was feeding every doubt she's ever had. "She thinks you were out partying with strangers while I was home working," Emma said, her voice breaking. I told her that wasn't true, but she trailed off, shaking her head. I grabbed my phone, my hands trembling, and called Mark. "We need to get that photo taken down now." Mark sighed. "I've been trying. Tyler refuses. Says he's just sharing memories." The guy's completely delusional. That was the moment something inside me snapped. I'd been patient, tried to keep the peace, but Tyler had crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed. That evening, I drove to Mark's house where he and Adrian were waiting. Emma didn't want me to go, but I told her this was the only way to protect us. Tyler was there too, leaning back on Mark's couch like he owned the place. "Why are you doing this?" I demanded landed the second I walked in. You know what that photo's doing to my marriage, to my family. Tyler smirked, completely unbothered. You're overreacting. It's just a picture. If your wife can't handle that, maybe that's on you. Adrian stepped forward, his fists clenched. Tyler, take it down. Now. No, Tyler said flatly. You guys are acting like I ruined some sacred thing. We were just having fun. If Daniel's so insecure, maybe that's his problem. The room erupted. Adrian shouted. Mark tried to intervene, and I just stood there shaking with rage. Finally, I said, my voice low but firm, if you don't take it down, you'll never see any of us again. And I'll make sure everyone knows what kind of person you are. Tyler's smirk faltered for the first time. You wouldn't try me. There was a long, tense silence. Then, finally, Tyler pulled out his phone and deleted the post in front of us. But the victory felt hollow. When I got home, I told Emma what had happened. She hugged me tightly, whispering, I'm proud of you for standing up for us. Things between us are slowly healing, but I can still feel the crack in our trust. As for Mark and Adrian, they've been nothing but supportive, but our circle feels different now, smaller and more fragile. I've learned the hard way that even one reckless, selfish person can destroy years of friendship and love. From now on, I'm hosting every hangout at my own house, with Emma there to see everything for herself. No more surprises, no more risks. Tyler is out of our lives for good.
You are not the AITA. Here's my personal insight. What happened to you was not a case of reckless choices on your end but of betrayal, disregard, and carelessness from someone who had no respect for your boundaries. Tyler's intrusion wasn't simply an inconvenience, it was a direct attack on the trust you've worked so hard to maintain with Emma. When someone undermines your values and mocks your concerns, it's not insecurity, it's evidence that they don't belong in your inner circle. Your reaction was not impulsive but protective, the response of someone who values loyalty, reputation, and family above short-term fun. Suggestions. First, rebuild Emma's trust through unfiltered transparency. The fact that she believed you when she could have assumed the worst shows her heart leans toward you, but she needs proof through consistent openness. Second, reframe the friendship dynamic. Mark and Adrian still have your back, but they let Tyler into your space, so they need to earn back your confidence through accountability. Third, cut Tyler out entirely. He thrives on chaos, and every interaction risks reopening wounds. Now, for a fresh joke, imagine Tyler trying to be a magician. He promises a harmless card trick, then sets the deck on fire, blames the audience for overreacting, and insists it was entertainment. That's exactly how he treats friendships: reckless showmanship followed by denial. As for verdict, you are not the AITA. You respected Emma, you defended your marriage, and you drew the line when someone crossed it. The only AITA here is Tyler, who weaponized social media for amusement and disregarded the serious consequences. Emma is not the AITA either. Her reaction came from pain, not malice. Mark and Adrian share partial blame for not anticipating Tyler's behavior but redeemed themselves by cutting him off. My final thought: true integrity isn't about never facing suspicion, it's about how you respond when suspicion arises. You showed Emma and your friends that your loyalty is unwavering, and while cracks in trust take time to mend, they can strengthen the foundation if both partners choose honesty moving forward. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Got a story to share? Drop it in the comments and let us know which one was your favorite. If you enjoyed this video, you'll definitely want to check out AITA for getting my boss fired after publicly humiliating me. Click here to watch it now.